There are few steeper climbs in Cork than the one the county faces this weekend. Football's ups and downs are familiar territory to Colin Corkery. In 1993, he nearly reached the summit in his first year. Since then, mostly foothills.
When I came in at that time, a lot of the older players, the Teddy McCarthy's, the Barry Coffeys, the Shea Fahey's, and those type of people were still around, and it was kind of a good mix and blend of young and old and experienced, you know. And I think that year we kind of blended very nicely, very early, and I think that kind of set us up for a number of years after that, because we went on to win, I think, 3 in a row Munster finals, and ending up with an All-Star, getting to an All-Ireland final. I think, you know, that team at that time was probably the best team I played with, you know, with Cork. At that time in '93, I think a lot of those older players were going to retire kind of the year after, and maybe 2 years after that. It was kind of a rebuilding kind of a structure in Cork at that time, and unfortunately in '96, '97, I think we kind of slightly lost our way a bit. This team is kind of coming through now for the last 3 years, and you know, hopefully we'll be able to you know, get ourselves together, which is difficult at the moment because Kerry are Ireland champions, and you know, we're going to be up against it.
Just ahead.
We've been hit by a lot of injuries for the Clare game, just gone, and we didn't particularly play well. And we've got a lot of injuries at the moment. We've got about 5 or 6 guys that are struggling and not training. And of course our form is not that good either. So you know, with Kerry being Ireland champions, and you know, and the way they're playing at the moment, is going to be very difficult for us.
Colin Corkery can send this over. Cork will be home and dry.
I have an infection that affects the wall of my heart. It first came at me about 2 years ago, and it reoccurred again in November last year, and it kind of hinders me a bit in that I wasn't able to train for about 2 or 3 months, and it affects the breathing and so on. It's not going to stop my football career, but it's something that I just have to watch all the time, you know. The times that I spent in hospital, you know, two weeks at a time, every time I got sick with it, you ask the doctor, can I keep playing? And you know, the answer is yes, you can.
It's fisted in by Colin Corkery, and it's into the back of the net.
It's difficult for me personally because any time that I get injured, I find it extremely hard trying to get back to where I was, and it's the most thing I find difficult about trying to keep my weight down and stuff.
Colin Corkery may be about to come into the Cork side.
I have hamstring problems for the last 4 weeks, and I find it very difficult at the moment. I hadn't played against Clare because of my fitness, and I didn't expect to play because I wasn't fit enough. And over the last 2 weeks, which didn't give me enough time really to get, you know, fully fit, you know, I'm just struggling against time really. I don't think Larry has a problem with my commitment in training and stuff like that. It's up to myself to make my own sacrifices about my weight and controlling my fitness and that. And you know, as long as I can get reasonably fit, I think he's fairly happy with that, you know.
I played with Bomber Liston, and Bomber certainly was overweight as a Gaelic footballer. I know Colin has been hit with illness, whatever like that, but I don't think I have ever seen a player so overweight at inter-county level than Colin Corkery was today. He was dreadfully overweight. Did you get a bad pint glass now?
Pat's plan says things where, you know, the players can't respond to it at that time. I don't really listen to him. But again, you know, if things go right for you, it's great. But if things go wrong, it's the media and the crowd coming down on top of you.
So a pressure kick coming up for Colin Corkery.
In 1995 in Killarney, the crowd overspilled behind the terracing, and they spilled over to the sideline about 21 yards out, where I was taking a free on the sideline. And I remember picking up the flag on the sideline and just throwing it to the side. And I remember one of the Kerry supporters threw it back at me, and it kind of delayed the free a bit, but lucky enough I pointed the free, and it was a great spur for the team, and it kind of drove us on to winning that game actually.
And he dragged them back into this final. Chance for them here. Corkery has to be a goal.
Getting to an Ireland club final with your club is probably the pinnacle of my career. I mean, my club comes first before the county. It was just unfortunate this year that we got beaten in the final. We came up against a great team across the line, and I've had a great career so far, you know. It's been up and down, but you know, I've got a lot out of it, and you know, the sacrifices that I had to make were very hard, especially on my family at the moment, where the sacrifice is incredible. But it's all worth it, as I say, when you're playing in front of 40,000 people.
This weekend sees Dublin face Meath for the 19th time in Sean Boylan's 19 years. But it's 10 years since the four most memorable. Breaking Ball releases the boxed collection.
One more time.
We haven't had a score in the second period of extra time.
The hardest working referee in the world, Tommy Howard, has his style cramped.
And a little bit of cramp, I think, by referee Tommy Howard. I think, Jack, our voices are beginning to go as well.
Yeah, Joe, I think we'll have to get a cup of tea at this stage.
So Tommy Howard has discarded the laces, the bands to hold up the stockings on a very tiring afternoon.
Remember this? Colin O'Rourke didn't. He managed to return to action but had no recollection of the first half.
That time by Keith, I think. Here he was in there too.
Yeah, Colin O'Rourke could be in trouble there now. He got a terrible bang.
Well, when you get tackled by Eamon Heary, you get tackled. And the stretcher coming in, it looks very ominous, because Sean Boylan comes in to attend to one of his great leaders, and O'Rourke is off.
One more time.
PJ Gillick's lucky bounce created the first draw. Still painful viewing for Mick Deegan.
An equaliser. It's got to be from here. Stopped by Mick Deegan. Rolling forward. PJ Gillick kicking. Down is in there. And it's hopped high and it's hopped over the bar. They're level. And PJ Gillick has sewn up this game. It looks like going to a replay.
A speculative ball towards the goal, which John O'Leary seemed to have covered, but Bernard Flynn jumped at him. I think it bounced clean over the cross, but it could have been in the net just as easily.
Oh yeah, all right. Don't stop it.
The beginning of the end.
Right now, Colin. It's Declan Sheehan. And it's a penalty. Declan Sheehan has not heard the whistle, but it's a penalty. And Keith Barr is going up to take the penalty.
As for Mick Lyons, exclusion zone. What exclusion zone?
It's a goal! No, it's outside! It's outside, he's missed it! Keith Barr has missed the penalty. Meath stay in the tie. Only 3 between them, and Keith Barr had the chance to put this beyond the Meath men's reach.
We're gonna celebrate.
13 passes, 1 goal. No way back for Dublin. Kevin Foley becomes the unlikeliest scorer of a goal of the decade.
A lot of poor marking by Dublin, and it's Tommy Dodd who's carried it right through the heart to Foley. I don't believe it! Foley has scored! They're level!
That was unbelievable. You know, the Meath forwards just walked through the Dublin defence. Dublin committed themselves completely and totally to attack. Their midfielders and half-backs had gone forward when they should have been defending closely.
McQuillan. They've won it! Meath have won by a point! It's an amazing win! A late goal by Kevin Foley. A winning point by David Beggy. It's taken 4 games, nearly 5 3/4 hours.
'94 we were coming off an All-Ireland defeat by Derry September previously. To come semi-final stage down Park Equive, we met our old rivals. Usually it's in the final, but this year it happened to be a semi-final. Full house, as you can imagine, highly charged atmosphere, and it was a game to remember, I must say, especially for Cork fans. I think Cork were up by a couple of points midway through the first half, and coming towards the end of the first half, and Niall Callahan of all people was caught fouling somebody, and there was a penalty given for Kerry. We were in a half-time, and it was a draw game.
32 minutes of play in the first half. Penalty taker Miles Fitzgerald. Oh, Miles Fitzgerald.
There was actually an incident on the sideline the same day. There was a bit of argy-bargy with Billy and 1 or 2 of their selectors. So as I said, it was highly charged atmosphere, and at half-time it was all to play for.
Level pegging in Corkery. Timmy Fleming could go for the point from there.
Well, I think Kerry Probably took over a bit, especially the first 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, and they actually went into I think it was a 4 or 5 point lead.
Driven down by Sean Burke towards Timmy Fleming. He looks up and finds Sean Ganey free. Sean Ganey gets the goal.
I think there was 3 points in it with about maybe 8 or 10 minutes to go. And at that stage, it was kind of all or nothing, you know, it was time to take a chance. Luckily enough, I was marking a good friend of mine, Billy O'Shea, who tended to drift back the field at that stage, maybe to pick up a few balls, so I found myself probably closer to the opposition's goal as a centre-back normally would.
Stephen O'Brien had gone way upfield in support.
At that stage, I had shown probably caution to the wind, because it was, you know, as I said, it was the last throw of the dice.
Danny Cullity to Paul Coleman.
Paul Coleman receives the ball from Danny Cullity, bursts out. He was told before the game to hand pass everything, but he spotted Colin Corkery breaking off his man. You couldn't miss him, he was such a big man, and kicks the ball to him.
Good crossfield ball to Colin Corkery.
Okay, Colin Corkery fetches the ball in the left-hand corner of the field after breaking for the full forward position. Uses his football know-how and his considerable mass to shield off a Kerry defender.
Mike Hassett sticks to his task and his man very, very well.
Looks down the line. As I said, he has great vision. Takes a solo while he's looking to give him time. Spots a young, slim, lean Stephen O'Brien running through the middle and shoots for him.
2 Corkmen going in. One of them is Stephen O'Brien.
After running 100 yards in less than 10 seconds, I was very happy to see that Colin's pass had only been about an inch or an inch and a half out, which I gathered quite easily. On collecting the ball, I made immediate impact with 1 or 2 Kerry defenders, but that was the least of my worries. Most importantly was holding onto the ball at that stage. So I came, hit 1 or 2 lads, slightly fell back, looked up. To my amazement, I was this close to the keeper, slightly falling, turned onto my left leg, and I'll say I put it between the keeper's legs. But that's my story.
2 Corkmen going in. One of them is Stephen O'Brien. He's arriving for the goal, and he gets it gloriously.
I got up to see the city and screaming and roaring, and I must say it's one of the best feelings I've probably ever had on a GA field, you know. It was absolutely a great feeling, but it was mixed with tiredness and elation and knowing that I had to get back. And I think actually when I got back up, I was just shouting at the lads to get back and cover the centre, because at that stage it was a question of holding on. As it turned out, I think we got another point or 2. Kerry, through Bingo Driscoll, I think got another point or 2. So it was played right to the wire, but probably the goal did bring us back into it and probably swung it in the end, you know. So as I said, it was one of those feelings that happen once in a lifetime, and I'm glad to say I did in front of the Cork crowd, you know.
Little bit more.